In a shifting market, buyers are starting to see homes that are sitting longer 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And they're starting to ask the question, what does all of this really mean? Should I buy a house that's been sitting on the market? We're going to discuss all of that with you today, what to look for, why that home that may be sitting on the market is still sitting there, and everything else that goes with it to answer the question, should I buy a home that's been sitting on the market? You get all that today and more on this episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast. Here we go, y'all. Hello, once again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast, where we bring you the most up-to-date, relevant real estate information you're going to find anywhere on the planet. You're going to get it right here. Compliments, courtesy from your friends at Elite Realty Group. I am Mike Elkins, got my partner, Mr. Dave Elkins, with me, and we're going to tackle the question today. We're going to dive deep into the question. Should I buy a home that's been sitting on the market?
Yep.
I think you will agree with me, my man. Days on the market, we are seeing them increase.
They are going up for sure.
Why do you think that just right off the bat? What's going on?
Price.
Oh, there's no doubt. We're gonna talk about that a whole lot today. I'm sure that's going to be part of our discussion. But you know, homes, the market. We've talked about this extensively in other podcasts we've done. There's a shift taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got people kind of, off kilter, if you would have it.
Yep.
It's got them wondering. It's got them questioning. It's got them thinking a lot of things that, just to be honest with you, it's been years and years.
Yeah.
Since we've really been in this type of market that we are in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's raising questions. People's asking. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen this home, y'all, like it's been here for a while.
Right.
And, there's got to be something going down with it. Something's got to be up. Should I even go look at it?
Yep.
That's another question they're starting to think of. Mm-hmm. Should I even go look at it? And what does all this mean? Like, somebody talk to me. Well, you're in the right place today, y'all, because we're going to talk to you. We're going to talk about that again extensively. We're glad wherever you're watching from, listening from, we're glad that you have tuned in with us today to answer this question, because I think it's a very valid question.
It is. It really is. Again, we are coming out of, have been out of, but in some people's mind, it was yesterday.
Sure.
Where if you see a home that has been on the market for a while, your mind automatically goes to something is wrong with the house.
Wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
That's not necessarily the case anymore.
Sure.
It's just like I said, we'll tackle this, but it usually always comes back to the pricing.
Right. So there's no doubt about it. And we're coming out of a period of time where homes were sold in hours.
Yeah.
Like it was an hourly thing that you had to be, we told people like you got maybe 3 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like to see it hit and make your decision,
mm-hmm.
put your offer in, and there's a really good chance when you put that offer in, there's going to be multiple other people that's doing the same thing as you are doing.
Yep.
And that created, again, for a whole lot of people that dealt with that for a long period of time. I mean, it's what we're in now is different.
Mm-hmm.
And we have called it, we've continued to call it, the market is shifting.
Yep.
There's a shift going on. It's adjusting, it's adapting, it's whatever that you want to call it, but not crashing.
Right.
We will let you know when that happens. If that happens, we're going to let you know that.
Yeah.
Got nothing to hide.
No secrets here.
That's right. We put it all out there. But we are in a shift. And what's happening is to just kind of put a blanket over everything here. The people who are buying homes right now, you that's listening, that's watching this, you understand what's happened with interest rates. You understand with what's happened with inflation, the economy, jobs, all of that has kind of put the brakes on.
Right.
They've kind of took a step back and said, let's wait on some things. Now, people trying to sell their house have continued to do so. Okay. They're still listing houses. They're still going to market, but we've got more homes right now than we have people that's what you'd say I don't want to call it actively, because there are a lot of people actively looking.
Absolutely.
A lot of people actively looking. But buyers have kind of put the brakes on, and it's leading to that longer days on the market.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I want to say as we start this off. Let's jump right in. Days on the market does not need to cause panic from you as a buyer. There's no need to look at it. Kind of like what you said just a minute ago. I think the first thing people think when they see days on the market, they've seen this house there for a long time, because of what our minds are conditioned and we've just came out of, they automatically panic and think there's a problem here.
Right.
Like there's a problem with the home, and meaning with the home. Mm-hmm. It's got foundation issues. There's mold in it. Something's wrong.
Needs too much work
to it.
Yep.
And people, what I'm going to call they're panicking about that house.
Yep.
It does not mean anything to panic about. It may just mean buyers are slowing down. Mm-hmm. People may be doing the same thing you're doing as a buyer and taking their time. Like they've got a lot to choose from. They got a lot to sort through. They got a lot to look at. So all of that put together, there's no need for a buyer to panic over a particular home. Right. It's just that the market is shifting. Right. That's all that it is. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad sign. That's not anything that you need to look at to say it's panicking. Longer days on the market, actually, for a buyer, can be a really good thing.
Can be a great thing.
It can totally be a really good thing. I've got wrote down here on my notes, longer days on the market doesn't always mean something's wrong.
Right.
It probably means that people have possibly, we talked about this in depth on a previous episode, they may have overpriced the home, just like what you said.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what it comes back to, because I want to say this really quickly, that you said, we're coming out of a time where we was telling people 3 to 6 hours.
Sure.
If we do it correctly right now, that can still be the case.
Oh, there's no doubt.
But too many people are not wanting to do it right from the get-go.
To start with.
So again, those same things are still relevant today.
Sure.
There are homes that are being listed that are under contract, pending within 24 hours.
No doubt.
But they done it right from the start. I think we talked about this just recently.
We did.
It's still possible. I don't want people to think that I don't want people to think I have to list it. I got to wait 15 days. I got to do a price reduction. You don't have to do any of that.
Right.
You can say, let's do it right from the beginning, and you can get a contract quickly.
Yes.
That's still possible.
We literally threw out numbers on a recent podcast, and it's fits in this spot. So let's redo it. We looked at a month's worth of numbers in our area. Now, again, we always try to say this because this show podcast goes literally around the world. We're in East Tennessee. Morristown, Lakeway area is where we are based out of. We did a deep dive into the market and looking at, again, some things that's happening. But one of the things that stuck out to us, and it had to do with pricing, and I got to get it. We're going to get off this, but again, it fits here. But homes that were on the market that had sold in the previous month, and we're talking about homes that sold, okay, the closed deals, 68% of those closed deals, okay, sold on average in 23 days with no price reductions, okay?
Yep.
The remaining 32% sold on average of 211 days with $35,000 on average of price reductions.
Yep.
So all you have to do is look at that and say, homes still priced correctly in today's market. They're moving, okay? Yep. So you got to look at that. So let's back up to what we're talking about today. Those 211-day people, that's the ones we're going to look at today. Right. Is that 32% of our market that sold had been on the market on average of 211 days. And people start forming a lot of opinions on those, but it simply could probably, there's a good possibility it's overpricing, which leads to limited showings.
Yep.
Okay, there's just not a lot of activity that happens on that house. It could be even we're now in the spring market, but you also look at the time we've just came out of. Seasonal is a deal.
Like it really is.
It is a deal.
Plays a part.
Spring and summer typically do better than fall and winter. Okay. Yep. Just came out of the winter time here. So that all plays in the role of it. But you looking at this as a buyer, can be a really, really good thing for you.
Yep.
Because you're looking at, again, the people that's trying to sell their house and they have to sell versus they want to sell. Well, those people that have to sell when their day's on the market, because they start feeling the same thing that a buyer feels. They start feeling real panicky.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, holy cow, I've been on the market for 30 days and I don't have a contract.
Yeah.
They start feeling panicky.
Right, because they know people
Sure.
who put their house on the market and it was under contract in 2 days.
Yes.
So now they're 30 days deep, man. They're thinking, oh, gosh.
Something's going on.
Something's wrong.
Something's going on. So that whole panic happens on both sides. Mm-hmm. Like it literally happens on both sides of those. We have seen recently, like in the marketplace, in our office, we personally dealt with them that, again, homes on the market for a while, there's not been anything wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. There been just a simple misguidance or, misthought maybe on the initial price. The home's been there for a while. And after a period of time, the sellers have got realistic. Buyers have found a really nice home. Nothing wrong with it. But it's been on the market 162 days.
Right.
But the seller became a lot more realistic with everything, thus leading to a good opportunity for you. So, should you buy a home that's been on the market for a long time? Well, it all depends, and we'll dive more deeper into that today. But my first point that I want to throw out here today is there's no need to be panicky about that as a home buyer.
Right.
Because I think we will get into, and it will open up, that could be something really good for you as a home buyer. Yeah. So that's what I've got to start us out. Don't get panicky. Yeah. Don't. They don't need to go crazy and think just because that home has been there for a while that you maybe need, especially, this is what you're going to come back to. If it's in your area, if it fits the needs that you have for the next home you're going to buy, that's one of those you want to keep an eye out on. Yeah. Okay. You want to keep an eye out on. You made a killer point on one of our podcasts that we had here just recently. And what you said was there's a lot of buyers that are waiting sellers out.
They are.
They're waiting for them to get right. Yep. And then there represents a good deal. Mm-hmm. So again, be patient right now. Don't be panicky, but be patient on what's on the market. That's what I got to start us off. Add something to that.
So let's talk about, again, because for those homes that are sitting on the market, we're kind of talking to buyers today. Okay. So what that means is, as a buyer, you may be able to kind of spot yourself a hidden gem, hidden deal, however you want to look at it. But there's some things that you need to look at before you even start thinking this way. Number one, you gotta think this. If that house has been sitting on the market for a little bit, like you just said, sellers are kind of getting panicky as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that may mean to you as the buyer that seller is going to be more negotiable now.
Yes.
You might be able to think about them. We talked a while back about doing these rate buy downs. Mm-hmm. They may be able to be willing to give you some concessions now, either for closing costs, for rate buy downs, whatever you want to do with that, for repairs that you're going to find on this home inspection. But that seller may be more negotiable at this point since that home's been sitting on the market for a little bit. Some things you also want to keep in mind that you're going to look at is you want to know, of course, the days on market, but you want to see what was the history of that listing.
Good.
So have there been a bunch of price reductions already? Has it come back on the market? Did you see that house go pending? Mm-hmm. And then it's come back on the market.
Right.
If that's the case, sometimes that could be more to the story. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you'll see that happen. Buyers' financings just fall through. That's a very common one. And people automatically in their mind think that means that there was a home inspection problem. Not necessarily true all the time, although it could.
Sure.
So keep that in mind. Find out the history of the listing. Why did it go pending? Mm-hmm. And they'll come back to the market. Find that out.
There's no doubt about it. And kind of like what you said, what you're looking for, a lot of times that days on the market lets you find that hidden deal. We literally just today, we're having a conversation in our office. And I won't use numbers, I won't use specific numbers, but I'm going to tell you pretty close. We just had a conversation this morning in our office about a home been on the market for a while. Okay, it's been on the market for a while. It was probably listed a little high when it went loose. Kind of in the middle. I'm going to call the middle of this thing. There was a great price reduction, which got interest in it. Sellers kind of got a deal, got an offer if you would have it, but they wasn't able to make it work out. But we're at this point in time, got another offer, I think yesterday, somewhere through there. But we've already had several price reductions, and this offer's come in about $40,000 less than what we're asking right now for the house, which is already after multiple price reductions. When we talk about there's a possibility sometimes for you as a buyer to find the hidden gem,
right?
I would label this as they're finding a hidden gem here.
They are,
They're finding a hidden gem because they've been patient. They're not saying, I'm going to let days on the market keep me from going and looking at that house. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks about it. That's the first thing. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks about it. Worry about what does it do for you.
For you.
As you as a buyer, that's what you want to be looking for. Like, does this house fit the needs that I have? There may have been all kinds of people come through that looked at it and had any thought in the world about it. Who cares what they think? Just worry about what you think. And if you spot the hidden gem, it fits for you, pull the plug, go for it.
Right. Yeah. And we've talked about this, but here's a good thing, because a lot of times you are going to see just like that when you're talking about, you're going to see those price reductions. Okay. You're going to see that. Now, to me, this is just me. When I see that, that means that those people are starting to get what you just said, a little bit panicky. We're trying to start. Okay. But keep this in mind, because this is where I think you're going to find the real hidden deals at. There's some people that their whole strategy is that they're going to list it. They know they're listing it high, but they're going to list it. And then when they get that offer, they're going to negotiate.
Sure.
We said this. Sometimes you ain't going to have nobody to negotiate with when that's your strategy.
No.
But again, I'm saying, so there is those listings out there that have zero price reductions.
Right.
That have been on the market for 90 plus days. Those could be deals.
Yes.
Those people are looking for people to negotiate with.
Yes, they are.
So, again, we have to stay kind of realistic to a point. You know what I mean? They're not going to give it away. But those could be deals that, you might want to look at, because on every website in the world, they've kind of just blended in. They've dropped to the back. They're not the hot new listing.
No.
They're not the price reduction listing. So they're there, but they're hidden. So make sure you're taking the time that you're really looking at everything. And then at that point, don't pay so much attention to that days on market. Just think, does this house fit for you?
Sure.
And if so, those people could be negotiable. Got a thing here. It says a stale listing to one buyer could be the perfect opportunity to another.
I agree.
So just because it's been sitting there,
yeah,
don't mean that something's wrong. It could just be that it's simply waiting for you.
That's right. And we've kind of focused on, I think, a lot, and I'm going to be like 100% honest here. Most of the time, the listings that have been on for a while, and we're talking about days on the market, we're answering the question today, should I buy a home that's been on the market for a long time? What are days on the market? What does this mean? We have focused on price a lot. And just to be 100% honest, transparent, that's usually what it is. Like that's usually the answer to the question. However, it's not always the answer to the question. That's not, it doesn't always come back to price.
Right.
So let's talk just a little bit about red flags, maybe things we can look at in the listing itself to spot, okay, there may be an issue with this home and it's not the price.
Yeah.
It's not the price. It doesn't look at it. The first thing that I tell you that you as a buyer, you can kind of keep an eye on is one of the things that you just touched on. Has this home been available for sale? Then it's been pending. Then it's been back available. Then it's been pending again. Is there a history here of, okay, we're selling it. Oh, we've got an offer. Oops, now we're selling it again.
Right.
Now, there are, I think, things there that could be several possibilities. The one that's not a concern in all of that and could be one of those red flags is on again, off again, on again, off again. It could be what you just said. It could be buyer financing. Okay. That could definitely be what's happening with that. There could have been some financing fall through. Now, I will tell you, it seems as though our podcast is getting through to the nation. Because I think most people understand, especially if you listen to this, don't go look at homes if you ain't got your financing in order to start with.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that no more.
Right.
That used to be a thing. Everybody just hopped in the car and went and looked, and it was like, I'm going to buy a house on a whim. People don't really do that much anymore. It does happen.
Oh, yeah.
But red flags that if you see that happen, okay, there could have been, and there probably was, a home inspection done on this house.
Really good chance.
And there could have been, and probably a really good chance, that there were things that showed up in that home inspection that were not able to be negotiated out, or a buyer looked at it and said, way too big of a problem for me.
Yep.
Now, we're going to get in trouble right here, but let's go. I like when we get in trouble.
I do too.
There are people selling their houses that the house has problems that people don't know about.
True.
Would you agree with that?
True. They have no clue.
They honestly don't know,
right,
I got this big problem. They don't know it.
Right.
But when a home, so they do this property condition disclosure. We're going to get in trouble.
Here it comes. They
do this property condition disclosure for you if they live in the house. Some of those are exempt, but most people, of course, if they live in it, they got to do it. And they tell you everything they know about the house, okay? It's factual information. They know it. They provide it to you.
Yep.
But there are things they don't know about. But when a home inspection is done, okay, on the house, and they are now made aware of factual information from a licensed home inspector that this house has these problems, okay? Don't be afraid as a buyer coming behind. It's been on the market. It's been off, been on, been off. Don't be afraid to ask. Has there been something revealed in a home inspection that you maybe were not aware of before you listed this house that now you are made aware of?
Right.
Real estate agents should be helping their people update that property condition disclosure once they know new factual data.
Yeah. So realtors, when you find out that there is problems on that home inspection.
Sure. If you've seen it, you know.
Yeah, and so I know what a lot of people are saying right now, realtors, I'm saying, well, we don't know. They just told us that they're backing out because of the home inspection. That might be your way out, but if you know.
If you've seen it, you know.
If you've seen it, you know.
Yes.
Make sure you update that property condition.
No doubt.
I mean, listen, for one, you're saving people money. You know what I mean? Like, what's the purpose of going through this again?
Right.
Just to find the same stuff. If you know there's a problem, tell them that.
Absolutely.
Tell them that. You have to, for one.
I agree 100%.
Okay? Be honest, people.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Okay.
But I'm saying, I'm going back to this buyer, red flags. Like, if you see that happening, there's probably been something happening in a home inspection. Now, again, we don't always see them. And the answer a lot of times is what you just said. Honestly, that's to come back to the real estate agent's perspective here. We're just backing out because of the home inspection. Nobody knows. Nobody sees.
Right.
Nobody wants to know and see.
Right.
And they don't know the answer. But it don't hurt you as buyer
to ask that question.
It's been on the market and you see that's kind of what's been happening with this house. Then something went down with it, y'all. Something's going on, okay? Right. Something's going on. Don't be afraid as a buyer, either yourself or your agent, to ask that question. Has there been home inspections done on this house recently? And if so, do you know what was found in them? That's something. But you do want to watch for those red flags. You want to look at it. It's also, to me, a red flag if a house has been on the market for a long time and sellers ain't willing to negotiate. They're not willing to do any kind of repairs. They're not willing to do squat. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Of things that you need to watch out for. But that coming on and off the market, that's the ones that you need to be watching for. And plug. Buy a home, get a home inspection. Okay? Especially, we say, I don't care if it's been on the market for 10 minutes, get a home inspection. But the longer on the market, especially if it's got that routine to it,
Yeah,
don't you dare skip the home inspection.
No.
Those are red flags. Days on the market, those are red flags you need to watch out for, because again, here's another thing, and then we're moving on. A lot of times those red flags come up. You see it on the market, off the market, on, off, and they realize as a seller that we got some issues.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to make a big swing. We're going to make a big swing on this price.
Yep.
Because we understand we got some issues.
Yeah.
And they make a big swing on the price. But then it goes back to just what I said. You're buying it as is.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying it as is. Listen, buying it as is just means that the seller is telling you up front they ain't going to make no repairs.
Right.
It does not prevent you as a buyer to get a home inspection.
You can still have your inspection.
Get a home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some red flags you need to watch out for. Talk to us some more.
Well, let's talk
How
about.
do we buy?
Yeah, let's talk about what's the best thing to do once you see these. So obviously, coming in here as realtors, we're going to give a plug for ourselves first. But honestly, the best thing you can do, find you a good realtor who is going to represent you the right way.
Absolutely.
Who is going to help you find out all of these details that we're talking about this listing. So, what is the history of it?
Yeah.
That's very important to know. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that those days on market, that can be very useful to you as the buyer as far as negotiations.
No doubt.
Okay? I mean, obviously, when it's been there a while, there's a really good chance that seller might be ready to do some negotiating.
Sure.
Especially when you've already seen those price reductions. If it hasn't been pending and back pending and all that other stuff, if you just see that there's price reductions going on, you can know that seller is needing to move that home. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's going to help you in negotiations. Number 3 is you need to be, so once you find this house, if this is the right house, how many times, I thought of this when I was reading this, how many times do we see people say, I've watched that house for 3 months.
Yes.
And the minute that I thought about going and looking at it, it went pending.
Yes.
There's people doing what we're telling you to do right this minute.
100%.
We've said this, they are watching these homes.
Yes.
They are seeing these price reductions.
Yes.
And when it gets to the point that it's good enough for them, they're going.
Right.
So be ready to act when it's time, when it's the right time, the right price, all that for you. Be ready to act quickly.
No doubt.
Because there's other people watching as well. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you go back to this for a moment, like what you said. Though the days on the market, I don't want us to come across the wrong way, and I don't think we have, but I just want to reiterate, it don't always mean you're going to get this big, deep discount.
Not at all.
That's not at all what that means at all. Okay. So like you said, go in, work with somebody who's going to be on your team, make a good offer on the house. When it fits you, it fits you.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't think you're going to come in and get this big old discount because it's been on the market for a long time.
Right.
And like what you said, the negotiation power is there for you, but that doesn't mean you're going to get this at this big, deep discount.
No, yeah, especially when you see they are making these adjustments.
Absolutely.
When these price adjustments are happening.
Absolutely.
I mean, most people, we got to keep this in mind as human beings. Most people do not own their house outright.
Right.
There is a mortgage that they're going to have to pay off. So they just can't give it away. They might want to sell it to you for cheap.
Yep.
They have to pay the bank off. So a lot of times you see these adjustments and they could be getting to where this is what they got to have.
That's right.
So keep that stuff in mind.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go there in this rabbit hole, but I'm just saying we see this so many times about people seeing that this guy bought this house and he's done all this work to it and he's selling it for this. And they're like, well, he just paid this for it.
Right.
Don't worry about that.
Don't
worry about what you think they owe, whatever.
No.
You don't even know what that guy's took his money and done something else with. He could have borrowed Megan's house, bought another one.
That's right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If it's right for you, fits what you need, you can afford it, you might want to go look at that house. You better be ready to make an offer.
That's exactly right. Don't worry about days on the market. Don't worry about those things. Remember, the right home for you is not always the one that sells fast.
That's true. Yeah.
That's not necessarily the right home for you. The right home for you may be that diamond in the rough that's just out there waiting on you, and everything to line up, the stars align, everything to be the right door open, the right button pushed, whatever you want to call, and there you find your home. So, recapping and ending this episode, days on the market is nothing to panic about.
No.
It could represent a good thing for you. Make sure
As
you look
buyers.
for the red flags. Make sure you look for all those things and go in, give it your best shot. If it works out, it works out. Get a home inspection. Everybody's happy.
Yep.
You find it, we find it. That's a good thing. So again, don't overlook the homes that have been on the market for a while. Okay?
Could be a hidden gem.
If you're out there and you're in the market for a home and you would like somebody to say, hey, let's take a deep dive. We've had calls recently, and this is why I'm saying buyers are getting smarter. What you just said a minute ago is people are getting they're adapting to the market. They're listening to the Elite Realty Group podcast. They're hearing the strategies. We are getting calls now, and you know what people are saying? I don't want to see a home that's been on the market for less than 4 months. Don't even show them to me.
Yeah.
Don't want to see them.
Yeah.
I want to see everything that's been on the market 4+ months. Are they looking for the diamond in the rough?
What do you think they're looking for?
They're looking for the diamond in the rough. They're looking for those ones that people started high. Now they've got realistic and everything's coming in together. The stars align and they find the diamond in the rough. And people are not seeing those because they're not showing up new.
True.
So days on the market, don't panic. Don't panic. Should you buy a home that's got high days on the market? Maybe. Do your homework, work with a good agent, and you could totally find that diamond in the rough. What do you got to add to that?
I mean, again, shameless plug, but again, if you find the right agent, they're going to make all this, because you know what? It might be the house that's been on the market for 5 months, but it could be the one that's been on the market for 5 minutes.
That's true.
But a good agent is going to let you know this is a good deal.
Absolutely.
Because again, going back to what we said at the very beginning, every house is not sitting on the market 5 months before it sells.
Nope.
Some are selling in the first 5 minutes.
That's right.
If you got you a good agent in your corner, that agent is going to let you know, hey, this one just come on.
Absolutely.
These people's not trying to do what the rest of the world's trying to do and trying to make bank, and they're trying to overprice it by 100,000.
Right.
And they're wanting to negotiate. They've priced it right from the get-go. And as a buyer, you really don't want to lose out on that one that could be the perfect one just because you're wanting to.
No.
Wait for the days on the market add up.
No.
So again, good agent can help you with all of this stuff.
Absolutely. And any of the agents at Elite Realty Group here in Morristown, Tennessee will be glad to serve you in whatever capacity that you need us as real estate agents to serve you as. That does it for us. For this episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast, hopefully we've answered the question for you and kind of talked to you and educated you about days on the market and what they mean. Whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, do whatever you can do to literally help us to spread this around the world. You all do awesome at that, and for that, we thank you. Until our next episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast, we hope you have a wonderful, safe, and blessed day, and we hope to see you on one of our upcoming episodes. Over and out, y'all.